In a small, peaceful town named Willow Creek, life was simple and joyful. Children played in the streets, laughter echoed in the air, and families gathered in the evenings to share stories. Among them was a bright and cheerful girl named Lily. She was known for her kind heart and adventurous spirit. Every day she would explore the woods behind her house, imagining herself as a brave hero in a grand tale. One sunny afternoon, Lily and her friends decided to have a picnic by the river. They spread out a colorful blanket, filled it with sandwiches, fruits, and cookies, and enjoyed their carefree day. As they played games and chased each other, Lily's laughter rang out like music. Little did they know that this beautiful day was about to turn into a nightmare. Suddenly, the sky darkened as strange, loud noises filled the air. The ground shook beneath their feet. The children stopped their games and looked up, their eyes wide with fear. A fleet of alien ships descended from the clouds, sleek and metallic, with flashing lights that flickered ominously. The townspeople rushed outside, confusion and panic taking over as they tried to understand what was happening. The aliens were unlike anything the humans had ever seen. They were tall, with skin that shimmered in shades of green and blue, and their eyes glowed bright red. The leader, a fierce-looking alien with sharp features, pointed at the town, and his voice boomed through the air, demanding submission. The humans had never experienced anything like this before. Fear gripped their hearts as they realized they were under attack. With terrifying speed, the alien ships unleashed a torrent of energy blasts upon the town. Buildings exploded into flames and debris rained down like a storm. People screamed and ran for cover, trying to escape the chaos. In the midst of this turmoil, Lily's heart raced. She felt an overwhelming urge to help those around her. "Stay together!" she shouted to her friends, but her voice was barely heard above the destruction. She quickly grabbed a younger child, pulling him to safety behind a tree. But as she turned to help another friend, a blinding flash lit up the sky, followed by an earth-shattering blast. In that moment, everything changed. The ground shook violently, and Lily was thrown backward, her vision blurred. She blinked to clear her eyes and saw the alien ship hovering above her, its weapons charged and ready. She felt a surge of courage as she stood up, determined to protect her friends. But before she could act, the alien leader aimed at her, and a beam of energy shot forth. The world slowed for Lily as she realized what was happening. Time seemed to stretch, and she thought of her family, her friends, and all the moments that made her life so beautiful. A single tear rolled down her cheek as she braced herself. The beam struck her, and everything went dark. When the dust settled and the noise faded, the town lay in ruins. The once vibrant Willow Creek was now a desolate wasteland. The townspeople emerged from their hiding places, shock and grief etched on their faces. They searched for their loved ones, calling out names in vain. The air was thick with sorrow, and the loss was palpable. As the sun began to set, casting a golden light over the destruction, the townspeople gathered in the center of what was once their home. They held each other, tears flowing freely. The grief was overwhelming, but it soon turned into something else: anger. The aliens had taken away their joy, their laughter, and most importantly, their Lily. In that moment, a leader rose among them. With a trembling voice, he addressed the crowd. "We cannot let this go unanswered. We must fight back for Lily and for all of us." The townspeople nodded, determination replacing despair. They would not allow the memory of their beloved girl to fade into silence. They would rise against the aliens who had brought such tragedy upon their lives. And so the seeds of revenge were planted, growing stronger with each passing moment. Willow Creek would not forget. They would prepare, gather their strength, and unleash their fury upon the aliens who dared to take their girl. The tragedy would not be the end. It would be the beginning of a fight for justice and revenge that would echo through the stars. After the devastating attack on Willow Creek, the news spread like wildfire across Earth. Every town and city felt the shockwaves of the alien invasion. People were frightened, but they were also angry. They mourned their losses, especially Lily, whose bravery had inspired many. As the world grieved, a fierce determination grew among the survivors. They needed to fight back. In the heart of the capital city, leaders from around the globe gathered in an emergency meeting. In the heart of the capital city, leaders from around the globe gathered in an emergency meeting. The atmosphere was tense as they discussed their options. Some argued for peace, believing that they should negotiate with the aliens. Others, fueled by rage and grief, demanded revenge. Among them was Commander Richards, a seasoned military leader who had lost friends in the attack. "We cannot let this go unanswered," Commander Richards said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "The aliens think they can destroy us without consequence. We must show them that we are strong and united." As the leaders debated, an old historian named Dr. Elena Torres spoke up. "There is a hidden power beneath our very feet," she said, her eyes shining with conviction. "In the depths of the ocean lies our ancient fleet, a remnant of our past wars. We can awaken it and use it to fight back." The room fell silent as her words sank in. Many had heard tales of the ancient fleet, but thought it was just a legend. Commander Richards leaned forward, intrigued. "Can you show us where it is?" Dr. Torres nodded. "Yes, I've spent years studying the old maps. The fleet is buried near the coast, protected by layers of sediment. It will take time and effort, but we can bring it back." The leaders agreed to the plan. They knew that the ancient fleet was their best chance for survival and revenge. The following day, teams of scientists, engineers, and military personnel were sent to the coastal site. Excitement filled the air as they prepared to uncover the lost ships. As the teams arrived, they set up equipment and began digging. Large machines roared to life, and workers dug deep into the sand and mud. After several days of hard labor, they finally struck something solid. The ground trembled as they uncovered a massive metal structure, covered in rust, but still powerful. The team cheered as they realized they had found the first ship of the ancient fleet. Commander Richards stood at the forefront, heart racing with anticipation. "This is just the beginning. Let's bring them back to life." For weeks, the teams worked tirelessly, cleaning and repairing the ships. Engineers carefully studied the technology, figuring out how to revive the old systems. It was hard work, but the spirit of the people fueled their efforts. They were united by the shared goal of vengeance for Lily and for the future of humanity. As the ships were restored, something incredible happened. The ancient fleet began to awaken. Bright lights flickered on, and the old engines roared back to life. The sound echoed across the ocean, a powerful reminder of humanity's strength. Each ship was a symbol of hope, a promise that they would not back down. Among the workers was a young engineer named Alex. He was passionate about technology and had dreamed of being a part of the fleet's revival since he was a child. As he worked on the main ship, he could feel the power within it. "We are not just fixing old ships," he told his colleagues. "We are awakening our history. This fleet will be our shield against the aliens." News of the fleet's revival spread across Earth, igniting a flame of hope in every corner of the globe. People celebrated, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. They saw the ancient ships as a chance to reclaim their lives, to take back what the aliens had stolen. As the fleet prepared for launch, Commander Richards addressed the gathered crowd. "We are ready to fight for our future, for Lily, and for every life the aliens have taken. Together we will show them the strength of humanity." The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices rising into the sky. With the ancient fleet at their side, they felt unstoppable. The time for revenge was near, and they would not rest until justice was served. The past had awakened, and the future looked brighter than ever. The day had finally arrived. The sun rose over the ocean, casting a golden glow on the ancient fleet. Ships, once lost to time, now stood ready for battle. Each vessel gleamed with renewed life. The sound of engines rumbling beneath the surface filled the air. Commander Richards and his team gathered on the main deck of the largest ship, the USS Valor. It was a massive vessel, its hull reinforced and bristling with weapons, a true symbol of humanity's resilience. As the crew prepared for launch, excitement and anxiety mixed in the air. They were not just awakening old ships, they were reviving hope. Young engineers like Alex busily ran tests, ensuring every system was operational. "We're ready to show the aliens what we've got," Alex said, grinning at his teammates. "Let's make history!" Commander Richards stood at the helm, gazing at the fleet. "This is our moment," he said, rallying the crew. "For Lily, for Willow Creek, and for every life we've lost. We will fight back!" As the clock struck noon, the crew executed the launch sequence. The ships slowly moved out of their hiding places, gliding through the water like mighty leviathans. The sight was breathtaking. The fleet rose from the depths like a legend come to life. People on the shore cheered, their voices echoing across the water, feeling pride swell in their hearts. The fleet assembled in formation, ready to set sail. Ships of all sizes filled the horizon, each one a testament to humanity's strength. Some were equipped with old-fashioned cannons, while others boasted advanced technology. They were a mix of past and future, a perfect blend of human ingenuity. As they sailed further into the ocean, Commander Richards briefed the crew. "We have intelligence on the alien fleet. They are currently regrouping above Earth, but they won't expect us to strike back so soon. We will catch them off guard." The crew listened intently, adrenaline coursing through their veins. They felt a deep connection to their mission. This was not just a fight for survival, it was a fight for honor and memory. They would avenge their fallen friends and loved ones, and they would reclaim their home. Days passed as the fleet made its way towards the alien ships. The atmosphere on board was electric. Alex and the other engineers worked around the clock to ensure the ships were ready for combat. They practiced maneuvers and tested weapon systems, each day bringing them closer to their goal. The crew forged a strong bond, united by their purpose and the memories of those they had lost. Finally, they received word that the alien fleet was in sight. Commander Richards stood on the bridge, staring into the distance. He could see the sleek, menacing shapes of the alien ships hovering above, surrounded by a flickering energy field. Fear and determination clashed within him, but he knew they could not turn back now. "Prepare for battle," he ordered, his voice steady. The crew sprang into action, taking their positions. Alex felt his heart race as he worked at the controls, sweat beading on his forehead. This was it, the moment they had trained for. As the alien ships began to move towards them, the crew of the USS Valor held their breath. The air crackled with tension. Just then, a voice echoed through the ship. "They are firing!" Commander Richards shouted, "Return fire!" The ships responded in unison, unleashing a barrage of energy blasts towards the alien fleet. Explosions lit up the sky as beams of light collided, the chaos unfolding in a dazzling display. The crew cheered, their spirits lifting as they engaged in battle. But the aliens fought back fiercely. Their ships were fast and agile, dodging blasts and countering with their own weaponry. The ocean churned with the violence of the conflict, waves crashing as the two fleets clashed. The sound of metal on metal, explosions and shouts filled the air. Amid the chaos, Alex focused on his screens, directing fire to targets. He could see the determination in his fellow crew members' eyes. They were not just fighting for revenge, they were fighting for the very soul of humanity. As the battle raged on, a fierce sense of unity grew among the crew. They were not just fighting alongside each other, they were fighting for every person who had ever believed in them. Each explosion was a reminder of what they had lost, fueling their resolve. "Push forward!" Commander Richards shouted, leading the charge. The fleet surged ahead, undeterred by the onslaught of the alien fire. This was their moment. They had awakened the ancient fleet, and now they were rising to reclaim their future. The fight for Earth had begun, and they would not back down. The battle raged on over the ocean as the ancient fleet and the alien armada clashed in a spectacular display of fire and fury. Commander Richards stood at the helm of the USS Valor, his heart pounding as he watched the chaos unfold. The sky was lit up with explosions, bright flashes of light against the darkening backdrop of the evening. This was not just a fight for survival, it was a fight for their home, for their people, and for the memory of those they had lost. "Status report!" Richards barked, his voice rising above the noise of the battle. "Sir!" replied Lieutenant Park, his face lit by the glow of the control panels. "Our shields are holding, but we've taken some hits. We need to focus fire on their lead ship." "On it!" Richards shouted. The crew worked in perfect harmony, each member knowing their role, driven by a shared purpose. Alex, now fully immersed in his role as an engineer, monitored the energy levels, making sure the ship's systems were optimized for the fight. As the crew prepared to target the lead alien ship, Alex felt a surge of adrenaline. He had trained for this moment, but nothing could prepare him for the reality of battle. "Weapons primed and ready?" he called out, his hand steady on the controls. "Fire at will!" Richards commanded. The USS Valor unleashed a barrage of powerful energy blasts, the beams slicing through the air like arrows. The lead alien ship shook as the impacts hit its shields. It retaliated with its own weapons, sending streams of fiery energy toward the Valor. The crew braced themselves as the ship rocked under the attack. "Hold steady! Brace for impact!" Richards shouted, gripping the rail. The crew held on, their determination unyielding even as the ship shuddered from the force of the blast. The battle continued to escalate. Other ships of the ancient fleet joined the fray, working together to create a wall of defense against the alien onslaught. The water around them churned and boiled from the heat of the energy blasts. Explosions echoed as alien ships fell one by one, but they fought back with equal ferocity. "Look out!" Alex yelled as an alien ship flew dangerously close, preparing to fire. "Evasive maneuvers," Richards commanded. The crew shifted into action, altering the ship's course just in time to avoid the incoming fire. The USS Valor glided swiftly through the water, dodging attacks like a dancer in a deadly ballet. As the chaos unfolded, something remarkable happened. The ancient fleet, once a forgotten relic, was proving its worth. Ships fired in perfect synchronization, targeting the aliens with deadly accuracy. The crew's spirits soared as they realized they were not just fighting for survival, they were reclaiming their heritage. "Commander, we're breaking through their lines," Lieutenant Park announced, excitement tinging his voice. "Good! Keep pushing forward!" Richards replied, his heart swelling with pride. Just then, an urgent alarm rang out. "Multiple enemy ships approaching from the west," Alex shouted, his eyes wide with alarm. "Prepare to engage! We can't let them surround us," Richards ordered. The crew scrambled to respond, knowing they had to hold their ground. The battle intensified as more alien ships joined the fight. The air crackled with energy as weapons fired, and the ocean roared beneath them. The ancient fleet faced overwhelming odds, but they fought with everything they had. Each crew member was fueled by a sense of duty and a desire for vengeance. In the midst of the chaos, Richards spotted a familiar sight. "There's the flagship!" he shouted, pointing at the largest alien ship looming in the distance. "That's where we need to strike! Ready the torpedoes!" Alex called, his fingers flying over the controls. The ship's systems hummed as the torpedoes locked onto their target. "On my mark. 3, 2, 1, fire!" Richards shouted. The torpedoes launched from the Valor, streaking across the water and into the sky. They struck the flagship with a mighty explosion, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. The alien ship trembled under the impact, its shields flickering dangerously. "Direct hit! They're weakening!" Park cheered. The crew erupted in cheers, their spirits lifted by the success. They were making progress, pushing the aliens back, but they knew the battle was far from over. "Stay focused, everyone," Richards said, regaining their attention. "We can't let up now! Keep fighting!" The clash of forces continued, each side refusing to back down. The ancient fleet was rising, a testament to humanity's resilience. As the crew fought with all their might, they felt a deep connection to their past and a fierce determination to protect their future. The clash of forces was more than just a battle. It was a declaration that humanity would not be defeated. They were here to stay, and they would fight until the end. The atmosphere was electric as the ancient fleet closed in on the alien flagship, the heart of the enemy armada. The ocean churned beneath them, reflecting the tension in the air. Commander Richards stood on the bridge of the USS Valor, determination etched on his face. The battle had been fierce, but they were now on the brink of victory. He could see the flagship looming ahead, a massive fortress of technology and death. "Prepare for the final assault!" Richards shouted, his voice steady and strong. The crew sprang into action, their spirits high. They had fought hard, and now victory was within their grasp. "Sir, the alien flagship is heavily armed." "We need a plan," Lieutenant Park said, his brow furrowed in concentration. Richards nodded, his mind racing. "We need to create a distraction. Alex, can we use the torpedoes to hit their shield generators?" Alex, stationed at the control panel, quickly scanned the systems. "Yes, sir. If we hit those generators, it will weaken their defenses." "Good! Let's do it!" Richards ordered. He could feel the adrenaline pumping through his veins. They had come so far, and he wouldn't let their efforts be in vain. As the fleet closed in, the alien flagship began to fire. Energy blasts shot from its weapons, lighting up the sky. The Valor swerved to avoid the incoming fire, the crew working in perfect synchronization. Alex focused on the screens, calculating the perfect angle for their attack. "Firing torpedoes now!" he called out, pressing the button with determination. The torpedoes launched, cutting through the air like shooting stars. They struck the flagship's shield generators, exploding with a powerful force. The flagship shuddered, its shields flickering as the crew cheered. "Great hit!" Park shouted, pumping his fist in the air. Their defenses are down! Now's our chance! All ships engage! Richards commanded. The ancient fleet surged forward, a wall of determination and fury. The alien flagship, now vulnerable, retaliated with a barrage of fire. The Valor and the other ships maneuvered skillfully, dodging the deadly blasts. The ocean erupted around them as the battle intensified. The air crackled with energy, and the sound of explosions filled their ears. As they pressed the attack, the crew fought with all their might. Each member knew what was at stake, and they were willing to risk everything. Richards could see the fierce resolve in their eyes. They were not just fighting for themselves, they were fighting for all of humanity. "Focus fire on their main weapons," Richards shouted. "We need to disable their firepower." The crew complied, aiming their weapons at the alien flagship's turrets. The Valor unleashed a torrent of energy blasts, striking the flagship with precision. Explosions erupted along its sides, smoke billowing into the air. The flagship rocked violently, but it wasn't done yet. "They're charging their main weapon," Alex warned, his voice tense. "Get us out of the line of fire!" Richards shouted, his heart racing. The crew quickly maneuvered the ship, evading the incoming blast just in time. The energy beam shot past them, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. "Now! While they're vulnerable!" Richards urged. The fleet pushed forward, all ships firing in unison. The combined firepower struck the flagship with a deafening roar. The once mighty vessel began to crumble under the relentless assault. "It's working! Their hull is breached!" Park exclaimed, excitement bubbling in his voice. But just as victory seemed within reach, the alien flagship retaliated fiercely. It launched a counterattack, firing wildly in desperation. The Valor rocked under the force of the blasts, alarms blaring throughout the ship. "Damage report!" Richards barked, gripping the rail tightly. "Minor damage to our port side, but we're holding," Alex replied, determination shining in his eyes. "Then we push forward," Richards said, rallying his crew. "For Lily and everyone we've lost." With renewed vigor, the crew of the USS Valor focused their fire, targeting the alien flagship's core. The battle around them was chaotic, but their determination was unwavering. They had come too far to back down now. "Firing all weapons!" Alex called, his fingers flying over the controls. The combined firepower struck the flagship's core in a blinding explosion. The flagship erupted in flames, the force of the blast sending shockwaves through the air. The crew watched in awe as the alien flagship began to break apart, its reign of terror finally coming to an end. Cheers erupted from the crew of the Valor. They had done it. They had fought back against the alien menace and reclaimed their home. Commander Richards felt a swell of pride as he surveyed the battlefield. As the remnants of the alien fleet fled, the crew knew this victory was only the beginning. They had awakened the ancient fleet, and now they had proven that humanity would always fight back. The clash of forces had ended, but the spirit of resilience would live on in their hearts. They had fought for their fallen, and they would continue to protect their world no matter the cost.